Hello, this is Arturelia Anime Room Reviews. I'm Arturo, and today I'll be reviewing Now, I really liked Code Geass. It may have had a little bit of some issues, but it was still a great show with interesting characters and the plot and its world, its alternate history and stuff. I really liked it. And then they came out with an OVA, Kaito the Exiled. I finally watched it, and what do I think about this OVA? A side story from Code Geass. Well, that's why you're here. Today I'll be reviewing the OVA of Code Geass, Kaito the Exiled. Let's go. Now, besides Code Geass being set in Japan, this is set in Europe. The EU is fighting against the Holy Britannian Empire, or the Euro-Britannian Army. The story follows a group of characters, but the main characters are Kaito and Layla. Kaito has a past that is horrible and mysterious in how he acts because of this past. And Layla is the commander of the W0 group, who is in the EU army and fights Britannia. I really liked the story of Kaito the Exiled. I liked it. It's almost like, you know how The Walking Dead it's the original, and then we get Fear the Walking Dead, which is different, and it's actually quite interesting. We get to see a different perspective. That's kind of how Kaito the Exile is, a different perspective of the Code Geass world. And basically it opened more of the world of Code Geass, from the history and also knowing that it's still in that time period. The soundtrack is also as catchy, like the original. And the ending too is also catchy, two of them. There is probably one thing that's kind of a little bit strange. It's near the end, the final episode of this show. A weird supernatural thing happened. It's kind of a bit strange, and I would probably say a little bit out there. But it's probably not as bad as Evangelion, for example. But, I don't know, you might find that a little bit weird. And you have to remember, Code Geass, the universe of Code Geass, does have weird supernatural stuff. The animation, oh my gosh, really nice and beautiful. It's a little bit different, though. I don't know. I mean, I know they keep the art style kind of the same from the original. But it's really nice. The animation and the CGI work is really good. A lot of people have complaints about CGI. I mean, maybe in general CGI just doesn't bother me. I mean, maybe once in a while when they put CGI in a certain scene, it's like, well, you know, they could have animated that. But in here, it's actually really nice. It just blends in perfectly. It's really good. Now, I'll say right off the bat about these characters. In Kaito the Exiled, they're all interesting. The group of 11s, Japanese, are interesting characters. From being like gangs in the street and kind of wanting to escape Layla's, group because she basically allowed them to join her team. And kind of also getting into trouble and actually trying to do harm to Layla and Kaito. But as it progresses, they become like good friends and allies. They just change. They just become loyal soldiers and are willing to help their cause. Even the characters from the other side are interesting. Kaito is the main character and his past is dark. One which has to do with his brother killing all of his family, but he survived. He has carried this darkness within him for a long time, and as you watch him from the first episode and last, he changes. Layla helps in that regard, but he also holds the power of the Geass, which his brother gave him. Though the reason for a certain thing that happened to him when he got the power is really unknown. Now, they did mention in this commentary in the DVD, he was probably too young and his brain didn't process the command. So maybe that. But you do see him when his Geass starts up, he goes on this killing spree. And he is the only survival from a battle. Layla is the other main character who also has a past that she carries within her due to a certain thing that happened to her. Though I won't spoil it, she tries to fight for the 11s, Japanese, and not use them as kamikazes, but also treat them right. She has feelings for Kaito because she's concerned for him because he's always throwing himself in the line of battle. And she's even concerned for the other group of 11s who joined the group. She is strong-willed and she's just a good commander. Her family were actually Britannians who left their home and were turncoats. But when her father and mother died, a certain thing happened to her which will give her a power that will come in handy by the end of the show. And the last character I'll talk about is Kaito's brother. He's like got this crazy idea of just destroying all of the humans on Earth, from Britannia to the European continents and everywhere. Shin, who has the power of the Geass and can command whoever to do whatever, he is a wicked one who has abandoned humanity and wants to destroy it. He also wants to kill his brother too, but as the story progressed, you get flashbacks of him and his wicked ways. Like, I don't want to go into too much detail, but it's almost like he loves him in a twisted way, his brother. He also has these reasons of wanting to do these things. But in a sense, you do have to read into his character to find something hidden within him. So it does make him interesting. As for the rest, like I said, really interesting characters here and there. Overall, I loved Kaito the Exile. It showed something totally different and a different perspective of the Code Geass world. Europe. I mean, the original is not bad. I mean, we're mostly focused in occupied Japan by Britannia because, it's anime and, anime is made from Japan and, I don't mind that. It's nice to see just a different change of the world of Code Geass. Knowing what's going on over in Japan, what's going on over in Europe and France, for that matter, and the history part too. And the fact that also some of this Code Geass stuff in the history also relates to some of the French Revolution, also has to relate to some of the history stuff, like how the EU was founded. Well, it actually started off from the French Revolution, and then Napoleon came along, conquered all of Europe, including Britain, forcing all of the people in Britain, like the Queen, to flee to America, and Washington was basically killed during the American Revolution. And Napoleon tried to become dictator of all of Europe, but was later executed. And I don't know, it's just interesting. I like how they do these alternate stuff with the history. And the characters, they really make this show enjoyable too. Another thing that made this show interesting was that it was a little different from the original. The show feels like it could be set in World War III. I mean, that's what it looks like. Or it could be actually World War II, because in the timeline, or the alternate timeline, for a robot show, even the original, I really liked Kaito the Exile, and not to mention that 2 original cast members do make an appearance in the OVA, and they fit in perfectly. They mentioned even the original show, just letting you know that it still exists in the timeline, and Kaito the Exiled is set between Season 1 and Season 2. And I gotta say, Kaito the Exiled is just as good as the original, and it's one of my anticipated 2017 animes.
Make sure you get back here safely.
Yeah, it should be easy when we're surrounded by enemies.
Assuming we live through re-entry. Let's face you, former Japanese kid.
Well, Kaito the Exile did something different, and I really liked it. Some people may have issues with it because it just took so long to develop it, but now that they have it all in one thing, you get to see these characters progress through this plot of the story. And I really liked Layla. She's actually one of my favorite female characters in the Code Geass world. Akito is cool, twisted in his own way, but then he has a heart, which Layla helps. And the other side characters, really interesting. And the fact that they throw in original characters from the original show makes it even more fun. I mean, this show I think it is just as good as the original. And the action scenes are nice, animated, just good. I think I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It is awesome. If you like Code Geass, you will probably like this OVA. You may disagree with me, but I liked it. I thought it was really awesome. Yeah, in the end, it was kind of a little weird with the supernatural stuff, but that doesn't mean it just destroys everything. No. I mean, if a show kept on doing the weird stuff, then yeah, I would probably say, but overall, it was awesome. Interesting plot, set in Europe. Obviously, I will recommend the second season of Code Geass because Kaito the Exiled is set after season 1. Or if you want to know where it actually started, watch season 1. I can't really think of anything else to recommend. But you know, there are other anime military type shows out there, so you might find something here, or anywhere else. Well, this is Arturelia Anime Room Review signing off.